But Duke is starting to become kind of a football power right now. What is up, everybody? It is Jake with Master of Football back at it again. Happy Tuesday. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to be up to date on everything college football, pro football, Madden, EA college football, NFL draft, anything related to American football, hit the red subscribe button. You will not be disappointed. Also hit the like button too, and follow on Twitter/X. That fame is growing. Without further ado, let's begin with the video. All right, guys, I know you all know about the big powers in college football. Everybody knows Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, USC, Texas, and so on. When you think about college basketball, you think about Kansas and UConn and Duke and North Carolina, other teams like that. However, there's a couple of teams that are trying to break through on both sides of the ball. For the longest time, Louisville was a basketball school, and then they tried, we're going to get a little bit of football going on here. Duke is trying to do the same thing here. And again, I know that they didn't have the game they wanted this last week, but Duke is starting to become kind of a football power right now. So we have this game last week, and up until the final 31 seconds in the game, we see the fact that Audric Estime had a 30-yard run inside. Now, again, they were in field goal range. They were only down 1 point. They probably were able to convert that, but again, you never know. But up until the final minute, Duke had the lead over number 11, Notre Dame, at home, weren't able to pull the victory out. But again, you see the fact that nobody's thinking, oh yeah, well, Duke, they don't belong. They're only a football or basketball school. Well, they're starting to show you that not only this season, but last season, they are really coming around. This is a pretty impressive start. Now, I know what you guys are saying. Oh, well, Clemson's not very good. They're 3-2 so far this season. Well, yeah, they're 3-2, but remember here, they lost to Florida State and at Duke. They lost two very, very good teams, one team at home, one team on the road. But remember here, that Duke game, or that Clemson game was really weird. It was, they had 4 trips inside the red zone. They had 2 blocked field goals. They had a couple fumbles. It was just a weird, goofy game. So Clemson's still a good team, probably still going to win 8-9 games. Lost to Duke. Duke beats Lafayette. They beat Northwestern. They beat UConn on the road. No, UConn's not very good. And then lose to Notre Dame, a top flight team who's had 2 back-to-back last, minute scores to win or lose the game. They lost to Ohio State, beat Duke. But you see the fact that, look at this, the Duke Blue Devils, the Dukies out there, J.J. Redick and all, Mike Krzyzewski, doing it on the football side of the field. And for them, it didn't happen just this season. Remember last season, they had the quietest 9-4 season of the entire country. This is really crazy when you look at it here, because you would never have expected at the end of the season a 9-win Duke football team. Well, again, same thing this year, got off to a 4-1 start. Last year, got off to a 4-1 start as well, losing at Kansas. Now, again, we found out that Kansas was a little bit better in football. Kansas did lose their final 7 games, but we see here that the fact that they, beat Virginia, beat North Carolina A&T, beat Temple. They did lose at Georgia Tech. They did lose to North Carolina in a shootout. They had beat Miami pretty good on the road, beat Boston College, beat Virginia Tech, lost to Pittsburgh by 2. Beat Wake Forest, and then beat UCF in their bowl game. Remember here, this is shocking considering the fact that what Duke has done historically. They've never really been a football school. So head coach Mike Elko taking over for David Cutcliffe, going 9-4 and 4-1 so far this season. David Cutcliffe has been the better coach in, maybe even the best coach in Duke football history, taking them to, what do we see? We have 6 bowls in 7 years here, doing a really good job considering the fact that this is mostly an academic school, not a very big alumni base, really popular in basketball, not so much in football. But coming down here and checking out what they were before David Cutcliffe and during David Cutcliffe, we have Ted Roof, who was 2-9, 1-10, 0-12, and 1-11. We've got Ted Roof went 2-3. Carl Franks went 2-10, 0-11, 0-11. Fred Goldsmith 0-11. Jeez, man, they absolutely were terrible up until they got your boy David Cutcliffe, and it even took him some time. First couple years, 4-8, 5-7, 3-9, 3-9, then 6-7, then 10-4, 9-4, but then back down to 4-8, and then ultimately at the end there, 5-7, 2-9, and 3-9. Duke has never really been a high-profile football school, but in order to do that, you just need to get a couple players right, have a certain scheme, and also it helps to have an NFL quality quarterback, even if he's injured right now. So at the end of that game versus Notre Dame, they weren't able to pull it out, but we see the fact that this is not going to help out their season regardless. So Duke junior quarterback Riley Leonard has a high right ankle sprain. Those take a long time to heal, and has a realistic chance of returning later this month for the Duke Blue Devils, sources told ESPN on Sunday. Leonard is expected to miss multiple weeks, sources told ESPN. Duke has a bye this week before hosting NC State and then playing at Florida State, and at Louisville, His return versus NC State is uncertain, sources told ESPN. He suffered the injury late in the Duke Blue Devils' 24-14 loss to then number 11 Notre Dame, and he left on crutches, a macabre ending where Leonard's injury on a strip sack essentially ended the game. He got sacked on a clean play by Notre Dame's Howard Cross, and Leonard's ankle clearly twisted up at an awkward angle. So again, we see here the scene went viral after Hartman cut his post-game interview short to check on Leonard. Leonard has been a breakout player for the 2023 season for Duke, leading them to a number 17 ranking and the school's highest rank since 1994. They did fall to number 19 in the latest poll this Sunday. Remember here that they fell a couple spots, but they clearly look like they belong. Even if their starting quarterback is out, they clearly look like a team going forward. And so far, Riley Leonard is so good. They're actually getting some NFL interest here over here on athlonsports.com, talking about what he does. He's got, and again, they break this down a little bit. He's got a little bit of playmaker in him. Still needs to iron some things out at quarterback. But from an athleticism perspective, 6'4", 210, can run pretty well. Doesn't have a cannon arm, but pretty accurate. Again, he looks pretty good for them going forward. And they're going to need him because he will be out this next week. But they'll have a bye, and then they play a team that also has a quarterback who's out in NC State. So NC State is changing quarterbacks from Brennan Armstrong to M.J. Morris. So Brennan Armstrong comes over. He transfers from Virginia to the Wolfpack in hopes of a fresh start. Didn't really play the way that he wanted to. Now Morris gets in the game here, and he played as a true freshman last season after starter Devin Leary, the starting quarterback for your Kentucky Wildcats, was injured and wins over Virginia Tech and Wake Forest. He threw for a combined 6 touchdowns and 0 interceptions, but he too was injured. So again, he's going to be stepping in there. So as much as Duke is out without their quarterback, they have a little bit of help from their schedule in addition to the other teams' quarterback situations too. So the rest of the way for Duke, we have NC State. We have a bye here right now this weekend, and then we have NC State at home, and then we have at Florida State and at Louisville. Though that's going to be a tough one. At Florida State, at Louisville, home against Wake Forest on a short week, and then at North Carolina. These 4 games right here, I mean, 0-4 is a realistic possibility. If they go 2-2, if they go 3-1, I mean, I do not think they're going to be a CFP team. I understand that, but I do know that again. The cool thing about the expanded CFP going forward, having 12 teams, should be 16, but whatever. Having those 12 teams, they have an outside shot here. But being the number 19 team, 17, they get a couple of these wins going forward. Maybe Clemson leaves the conference. Maybe Louisville leaves Florida State leaves the conference. I know they want to. We just don't really know there. But I do know that this team, they don't have a clear chance or clear path to be good, but they don't have a clear path to be bad. They're kind of in the middle right now when it comes to recruiting. You can see it right now. So if you look at the 2024 ACC recruiting rankings, so we see obviously at the top there Florida State, and then Clemson, Miami, and then Stanford. Don't forget here, Stanford is going to be in the ACC going forward. We have North Carolina, then Georgia Tech, NC State, Pitt, and then Duke. Remember here, SMU down here at the bottom. We got ourselves some Cal here too. So they're in the middle here. Right now at about 9. Again, they've got 2, 4-star players, according to what 247 Sports says here. So they're probably going to be okay. Do I ever think they're going to be a contending national championship contender? No. But I do know that Clemson, it took them some time to build up what they had with Dabo Swinney to get to that point. I'm not saying that Duke's automatically going to do it, but I do know. Remember here, still have the added, teams coming in, SMU, Stanford, and Cal. There's always the possibility they could turn into one of those better echelon teams at the conference. They still have to kind of break through. Riley Leonard leaves. We'll see what happens with that whole situation. But we do know that right now, 9-4 last season, the most surprising 9-4 start we've seen. Again, second straight season they've got off to a 4-1 start. Duke they're still a basketball school, don't get me wrong, but they're coming along in football. I know what you guys are saying. Oh my gosh, Duke football, who even talks about that? Well, 2022, 9-4. This season, 4-1 start. They do have some tough games at Louisville, at Florida State, and at North Carolina within 4 weeks, and a short week game against Wake Forest, their rival. We'll see what happens with conference realignment, but I do know that Duke football so far, Riley Leonard, star quarterback, is a junior. If he's injured for a certain amount of time, he'll probably come back. They're looking like they're going to be a pretty good team heading forward. Again, still a basketball school, but like Louisville, where they were a basketball school, added some football in there, I bet the same thing could happen for your Duke Blue Devils. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you so much for being here. Remember, get in the comments. Let me know what you think about Duke. I'm telling you, I think that I'm not trying to say it's going to be Kansas and UConn are all going to be good football programs, but I am saying that there's more than enough good football players out there. We'll see what they do. You guys get in the comments right now and let me know what you think. But beyond that, I'll see you guys later. I am out.